Welcome to Soul Sync, a sacred space for women of color navigating the in-between. I'm Pamela J. Thomas, and I created this podcast to hold space for your next chapter. Let's take a breath and begin. Welcome to Soul Sync, where we pause long enough to hear the truth beneath the noise. I'm your host, Pamela J. Thomas. In today's episode, we're going to have a conversation about navigating life's transitions and the holidays and into the new year at that. And I'm so honored to be joined by Dr. Glenda Clare, who's a resilience strategist. But before we dive in, let's take a breath together. So plant your feet on the floor firmly. You want to feel the earth under your feet. Notice your sit bones sitting on the chair and how the chair supports you. Make sure your spine is as upright as it can be. And let your hands just relax in your lap. Take a breath, just a gentle breath, and let your shoulders relax a little more. Wiggle the neck, let a little bit of that tension go. And we'll take a couple of breaths together. So let's inhale together for a count of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold it for just a moment. Exhale through your mouth gently for 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's do that one more time. You can keep your own count this time. So inhale for 4. And hold it. And exhale for 4 through your mouth. And know that we're present here. I want to invite you to let something go and decide to bring something into this moment. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes. Dr. Clare, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
It's such a wonderful time for folks like you who know about the work of resilience and the mental health profession to be with us. I know all of us have holiday ideas, and then the experience doesn't always live up to the promise. And how do you navigate all these things? So we're going to talk about that. But before we get to that part of the conversation, I want to invite you to just share a little bit of your personal journey. And this podcast in particular is about navigating life's transitions. And life is just a series of transitions, of course. But it's amazing for us to be able to hear other people's journeys and kind of get ideas and strategies for navigating. So what's called you to the work that you're doing now? And maybe you can share a defining moment during that path that you've walked that kind of changed how you looked at things or where you are.
So if I was to think about what led me to where I am today in terms of calling myself a resilience strategist, I would begin by looking at my life as one transition after another.
Yes.
Beginning as early as I can remember. My parents divorced when I was 3. They remarried. They were divorced the person that they remarried.
Yeah.
I got transitioned from a lifestyle that I loved on Long Island in New York to moving back into the city as a teenager. That was not fun. And then what I call escaping from the Bronx, because I'm from the Bronx in New York. So I escaped.
Okay.
And I went to college. At college at Howard University was a good thing in many ways.
Yes.
But I was one of those people who experienced a sexual assault. So that again was a transition. Got beyond that actually by moving down South Carolina, where my mother's family lived, where I actually completed college there. Came back to New York for my first job, loved it, but I guess I missed out on one thing. I was in the U.S. Navy. I ran out of money when I was in school.
That's a big deal. Yes,
I forgot about that.
That's a big lifestyle change.
Well, actually, a lot of women tend to skip over that. But I joined the U.S. Navy. I joined as a reservist. I needed
Yes.
to join because I ran out of money for college and had to pay for it. And so it's like, oh, GI Bill,
Yeah.
that'll pay for it. So after I finished college, I went back to New York and was working and got recalled for
Wow.
for war. And so reservists have to serve full time.
Yes.
Um, let's see, when I got released from there, I moved to North Carolina where I live now. Life was pretty good for me. I did a lot of work. My background is public health and mental health. And so
Yes.
I did a lot of work in public health, got into mental health because I was dealing with a lot of things around HIV and other infectious diseases, and people weren't listening. And so I said, well, let me find out, like what's going on in the head,
Yes.
so I can, do better with that. And so that ended up with some interesting transitions for me. So
Yeah.
I was doing a lot of work in the community. Someone came to me, Rebecca Brown Lee. She came to me and she said, we could pay for you to go get your master's degree.
Oh,
And she did. They did. They
wonderful.
paid for me to get my master's degree. And while I was in my master's degree program, I got challenged. I was challenged about applying for a doctoral degree because I was saying, I have to go to work. I don't have that kind of life where I can just go to school. I have to.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
And so what basically happened was I applied to one school and one school only. And I said,
Mm.
if I get in that school, they got to give me a complete full ride. And when they did, I didn't have any choice.
Yeah. Well, you asked for it and you got it.
I did. I asked for it and I got it.
Mhm.
One of my cousins was challenging me actually this week about, but you always in school and whatever. And I said, God sent me here. Here's how I know that God sent me here.
Yeah. Please share that with the audience.
On the day that I was supposed to take my GRE to get into the College of William and Mary in Williamsburg, Virginia, I was in an accident. There was a car full of young men. I don't know. They were speeding and they ran into my car. My car did a complete spin around. I wasn't totaled. I went on to go to take my examination because that's where I was going. I was up so I could go and take my exam.
Yeah.
While I was taking those GREs, I could feel the pain going up my spine. And I was like, well, we just got to finish the exam. And so I finished it as best I could. I don't really know what I scored. So that was the first thing that let me know that God was involved. The second thing, so I got called for an interview for the College of William and Mary to get in this program. I called myself taking a nice scenic view. Okay, I'm going to go the scenic route from North Carolina to Virginia. And so to get to Williamsburg, Virginia, it meant that I had to go from between a bridge from Norfolk to Hampton, which goes over the water and then underneath. Well, there was a 3-car collision.
That thing, I live in Virginia. Folks, if you don't know that bridge and tunnel, if there's an accident, you can forget it.
You can't forget it. So there was a 3-car accident on my way there. And so I was late. I was very, very, very late. They waited for me.
Oh, wow.
Okay, so they waited for me. Okay, so that's number 2. Me saying, okay, this is God. Okay, now I'm there. I'm at my interview. Everything is going fine. I'm answering the questions. They informed me, well, you're from out of state, so you'll have to pay full tuition. And I shared with them, well, then I won't be coming here. I won't be able to come. So they called me 2 weeks later and said, we can offer you a partial scholarship. And I said, I'm going to need a full scholarship for me to come. I'm going to need a full scholarship, and I'm going to need a graduate assistantship or something to help me to live while I'm there, because that's the only way I can come.
Yeah.
They gave me everything.
Yeah. Well, I love your story because it reminds us that often we play smaller than we need to. And often not that you get everything, I'm not going to say you get everything, but if you're on point and on purpose, you would be shocked at what will show up for you. It's
Well,
not everything, but if you're on point and on purpose, you will be shocked at what will show up out of the blue for you, unexpected ways, right?
right. And as I said, I had no real desire to go and get a doctorate. I said, if they don't pay for everything, I'm not going. So,
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I
And
can
you,
work over here. I'm fine.
and knowing, walking the path and knowing that if it's for you, on some level, you must have known that if it was for you, it would find its way to you on some level for you to, I mean, and again, you said you weren't, a lot of times, I remember in my own journey, that cosmic 2x4, I had to get to go back to seminary and certain things because I was like, I have had enough school. I am not. People told me for almost a decade, when are you going to seminary? I'm like, I'm not going back to school. I don't know why y'all keep telling me to go back to school.
That wasn't part of your plan.
Had nothing to do with me. And so the walk at this point for me is people always say, oh, but don't you mean? And I say, no, I'm telling you exactly what I mean. The walk for me right now is I make a plan. It's not that I don't plan, but I have almost no attachment to what I plan because almost none of it works out, but it's always better.
Well,
than what my small mind could think of.
And then you step into those things, which I think has been my hardest transition. So, got through the doctoral program. I have to admit, there was a point in time during the doctoral program, you said this was for Black women. So, I'm going to be frank. There were a number of us that were at the College of William and Mary at the same time. There were a couple of law students. I was in mental health under the School of Education. There were some business students. We were going to a support group every Wednesday because we knew that we needed to be able to get through there. And we didn't want to come in lining up the people and just shooting them because they were very racist. They really were. They gave us a test. So there was a time period in that time as I'm preparing to graduate where I did say, I need a sabbatical. And I did. Got a great job. Again, back home in New York. New York always calls me. I'm not called there anymore. It used to call me. I'm not called there anymore. But got a great job, was traveling all over the country, doing a lot of training and what have you. Got really involved with a lot of kids that were in foster care, which led me to my next transition, which was going to my aunt's funeral, my father's sister's funeral, finding out that her grandchild, that she had been raising her grandchild, and that her grandchild was going to go back into foster care. And I'm looking around at my relatives and I'm saying, what? She has family. Why is she going into foster care? And I didn't know my cousin from Adam. I knew her mother, who was alive and well, but had lost parental rights, who was there. Yeah. And I became the instant parent to my second cousin. Wow. Now that has been the transition that has had good, bad, and ugly. Yeah. So that is the one that actually I started a nonprofit around the issue of raising a relative's child. I call that the Grand Family Network.
I've seen that on your LinkedIn profile, but I didn't know if I understood the fullness of it. I heard because you have written about the role of grandparents in children's lives. And I know that in our community, many grandparents are involved in raising their grandchildren. But it's broader than that. Yes.
So it is, because it's not just grandparents.
That's right.
And as a cousin, I'm like, it is not just grandparents.
That's right.
So what I recognize is grandparents are generally the largest group. Older siblings are also a large group, but nobody gives them any credit. Nobody really gives them any credit.
That's right.
Then there's auntie, uncle, maybe great grandparents, and then godparents and other close family friends. So in terms of the Grand Family Network, I look at developing supportive services for those particular individuals using my lived experience and my professional experience. However, when I started, I was doing it the wrong way.
Oh, wow. Talk to us about that.
When I started, I was thinking, oh, my organization can go out and do whatever. No. So here in North Carolina, there are 100 counties.
Yeah.
There are people that are having this issue all over in all the counties.
Yeah.
And they are underserved. So my thought is, let's do what I have learned to do well in my past, which is capacity building for health and human service professionals, working with clergy in different faith communities,
Yes.
working with people in social services, working with clinicians, working with educators. So what you will see if y'all look for the Grand Family Network, we are launching in January. Our website is ready to go, but it's not out there for the world to see yet, but it's ready, and we are going to be launching in January.
Beautiful.
So this work is...
So you're going to give us that information to share on the show notes, please.
Yes.
So that people are ready for the new year. Because look, this is the perfect time for you to be talking to us on multiple levels. I had no idea that you were launching absolutely in the new year. Perfect time for you to be here. Okay. Yeah. So continue, please. Oh, wow.
So as a resilience strategist, this is what I have learned. It's not just important to be resilient at work, which is what most people think. It's important for me to be resilient at home, at school,
that's right,
at work, and in my community. And then that thing that they tell you in terms of that definition for resilience, they're talking about bouncing back. And I'm thinking, now, if you bouncing back, you got some problems going on. Because here's the thing. This shouldn't just be an automatic whatever kind of experience, because if that is happening, you haven't learned anything through that process. And you become resilient because you have taken some time to, number one, reset your nervous system, because it got offset.
That's right.
Dealing with whatever you were dealing with.
That's right.
Then to realign, looking at, okay, so this has happened. What are my values?
That's right.
How do I realign so that I'm living something that I can move forward with? Because it's about...
There's something to get up in the morning for too, honestly.
Yes.
Honestly. I mean, look, at the end of the day, we all need some work to do that allows us to get up and look at the world with bright eyes. Seriously speaking, we all deserve that. I know we all don't have that, but we all deserve that. And we should be trying to help folks find that, because that's when they bring their best to us. And we're here to share our gifts with the world. That's what we're here for.
And I agree with you with that. In terms of at least what I've learned from my own life, we all have a choice. And when I say that we all have a choice, we all have a choice in terms of what our attitude is when we are faced with these different things. Now, we can have stuff happen and get upset and spend all of our time angry and grieving and doing whatever. And I'm going to tell you, when I was dealing with some stuff with my cousin, I had them moments.
Yeah,
but
of course, we all do.
Then you also have to say, okay, am I going to stay there or am I going to do something else?
You got to set boundaries and some of them are soft boundaries and some of them are hard, I leave boundaries. And there's many things in between. That's right. Yeah. Discernment and alignment are not just airy, fairy, friendly, nice things. They are care. It's giving care, but it's not nice. Giving care to people and giving care to yourself is not always nice, desirable. It is life-giving and all of those things, but nice is not a thing when you are in circumstances that are literally draining your life force. Because as you say, when our nervous system is on overdrive and the cortisol is running, that's draining our life force. We cannot be 100% for ourselves, our families, our communities, or the world when that's going on.
And I agree with that wholeheartedly. I also was sharing with some relative caregivers. Some of them didn't like it when I said this, but here's the thing. If you're taking care of your relatives' children, you are also role modeling.
That's right.
So however it is that you react to different kinds of things, you are teaching them how they should react. And so you need to It's putting a little pressure on you, but you need to kind of look and think, okay, is this good for me? Is this good for them?
That's right.
Even setting those boundaries that you were talking about earlier. So when you set that boundary that, okay, my life is not just all about you.
That's right.
I need some life for me.
That's right.
I need some for me. I need to have some self-care. You're also teaching them. You need to also have some self-care.
That's right.
It doesn't need to be about everybody else that's around you. You need to be doing some things just for you.
That's exactly right.
I think that keeping that in mind in terms of whatever it is that we're going through. So with transition, you've got that whole thing where you are going to have some positive feelings. You're going to have some negative feelings. If you like a lot of people say they want change, but people don't really like
No, they don't want change. Well, I'm a change agent, and people get mad at me all the time because I ran from it when I was young. I was actually actively trying not to live into my gifts when I was young because people got mad at me a lot because I was like I didn't even know what I was saying. And I would be like pressing on their point of growth and pain. And they would be mad at me all the time.
You were stepping all over their toes.
Oh, I didn't even know what I was saying. It's just that I was told to say things. So I said them. Yeah. And so yes, people say, "Oh, change is great." No, 99.9% of people do not like change at all. We like the status quo.
It's hard.
Yeah, it is hard.
It's hard, and you're used to the status quo. So
That's
when
right.
you say, "Okay, I need to do something different," it's like, "Ooh, that means I've got to like do something different, and
That's
I've
right.
got to do it consistently to make change happen and for it to become a routine."
Right.
It just doesn't happen like, "Oh, well, I'll just change tomorrow."
That's right. That's right. That's right. It requires, we have to gather all of the parts of ourselves together and start to make a plan and actually follow through. We can do a lot of talking in our head. The mind is so excited when it gets a chance to spin and spin and spin. But, one of the things that I like to encourage the people that I work with to do is take some time and pause. That sacred pause that we all need in order to reconnect to ourselves. Remember who we are. When you get into the spinning mode, you don't even remember who you are, much less anything else. You don't hardly remember anything else. But if you don't know who you are, to plan a next step is not going to be that fruitful. But
women
embrace that pause, you can start to get some insights.
But women are taught
Yes,
to be selfless.
That's exactly right.
And so you're not supposed to think about you and what you need and what have you. But how can you give to others if you haven't spent some time just on giving to you?
That's right.
So I have to tell you, I'm becoming more indulgent as I get older.
Well, but it's not. But you know what? From my perspective, it's not indulgent for us to take care of ourselves. And okay, I'm saying this as a woman who did not have children. I understand that being a mother is like a whole different level of relationship to someone. And I only understand it from the perspective of a child, although I have mothered young people. I haven't been a mother, and that I know there's a difference. However, if we let ourselves get drained, we're giving to them from something less than the fullness of who we are. If we allow ourselves to be completely consumed by other people's stuff, they don't even really know who we are on some level.
Because we don't.
Thank you. That's my whole thing. Most women that I run to, especially our generation, I think the younger generation, they have had so many of the promises, and this country was built on some promises. Like if you go to school and you get the education and you do this and you do that, and those promises have been broken, like hugely broken. And so, yeah, exactly. For all of us, because it was a dream. Maybe some of it wasn't ideal, but it wasn't a real thing in the sense of the broad population experiencing these things, the white picket fence and all that stuff. That's a dream that was kind of sold to us. And they are much more, the younger generation, in my opinion, are much more aware. I'm 61 now, so I'm in the last year of the baby boomers. And the our kids I don't think they have any sense that they're going to have a job for 30 years or anything like that. And so at least they are not starting with the dream in a certain sense, but we need to actually provide them something that looks like something they can look forward to, or something that's more life-giving and less about the grind and extraction of their skill sets, and not getting, these young people can barely get or earn enough money. They go to school, get into debt, because who can afford school these days without a whole bunch of debt, unless you get lucky enough, and they're not giving money away on some level in the way that they used to.
Well, they're not giving money away to some people.
That's true. Yeah, it's true. Yeah, no, understood. But I think there were more opportunities for more people to get money previously. And we don't even know what's happening. Like, the reality is, I don't think we even know what's happening right now. There's so many confusing things happening. Nevertheless, these kids particularly as the women of our community, we are kind of a foundation, not that the men aren't important, but we are foundationally involved in the upbringing and care of the children. And we have to start to show through our lives, yes, in words too, but also in our lives, what it looks like to live an authentically designed life. I know those are kind of phrases that go around the business coaching community, and I don't know if most people know what that means, but to me, an authentic life is one that's soul aligned, where you are operating from that soul purpose, there's something that's a higher power that's guiding all of us, even if we don't know it or believe in it. There's something beyond us that creates us and all of that. I don't care what you call it, but when you understand that you're a large part in a sense, of the world, and you are also a minuscule part of the world in a sense, when you have the sense of yourself as being important, but not the fullness of what the world is, and understand that we're all connected, it matters if we're showing the kids how to care for themselves. It matters, because the more that we can get people in a position where they start to have enough space in their lives and enough time to check in and find out who they are, the world takes us away, tells us all these things. You have to look like everything on TV gets you very distracted. But we need to get back to finding out who we are, who we were designed to be. We came here with a purpose. We're not just here. All of us have a purpose. And if we can reconnect to that part of ourselves, you can live a fulfilling life. But when you're looking at all the external things do is tell you you're not enough.
So, I think that we should teach entrepreneurship to our children.
I couldn't agree more.
My parents, when I brought up entrepreneurship when I was a young adult, they told me I was crazy, just get a job. So that's what I did. But as I have matured, I'm hanging around with these folks that are doing the entrepreneurship thing, because the other stuff, I think that we all have gifts and talents.
Yeah.
I think that part of the thing that we as adults should be giving to our children is helping them to see what their gifts and talents are.
Yes.
So as the person that was in charge of my cousin, I pretty much, the moment she came to live with me, I know she must have been thinking, what is with this woman? I'm 9 years old. What you mean you giving me a job? I was like, I had her volunteering at the library. I had her doing different things. She said that she wanted to bake cookies. Fine. We took a course on cookies and having our own baking business. She'd say something else she wanted to do. Wow, we'll do that. And with some entrepreneurship added onto it. So that I was trying to plant a seed. Now, I don't know necessarily that it germinated completely the way I wanted it to germinate, but that's what you have to do. So looking right now, I'm looking at these amazing young people. There's this young man in Atlanta. I think he's 14 years old. I can't remember his name off the top of my head. He is teaching his parents financial literacy and has his own business.
Yeah,
He goes out and speaks and is making money. He
that's
has
right.
all of these things with his program. One of my past co-workers, remember I told you I had to take that little sabbatical when I
Yes.
was at William and Mary. Well, I went to an agency that was called the Center for Addiction and Substance Abuse. Anyway, the person that I worked with, her daughter, oh my goodness, this girl at the age of 11, she said to her mom, she said, I'm tired of reading all these books about these little white boys and their dogs. How come we don't read about anybody else? And her mother said, well, what you gonna do about it? Next thing we know, she did start asking questions. Her name is Marley Diaz. Marley knows Michelle Obama, Oprah Winfrey, all of the people. Marley is now at Harvard. She's no longer an 11-year-old. She gets 6 figures walking in the door. She's got books. She's got different kinds of things. But
Yeah.
you do these things because you're keeping these things in mind. You're telling your children, Black genius, you can do anything
Yes.
that you're
Yes.
into.
Yes.
Everything, Trump recently, I was laughing at this program. I look at these video shorts on YouTube, and Trump was talking about all of these inventions, and the man said, all those inventions are Black people. The light bulb, the cell phone, all of these things. Black people created those things, not white people.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we have to encourage our young people. They can do all kinds of things.
They can do everything and more than what they see.
Yes.
That is the truth. That is the truth. Black excellence has always been there. And look, I don't know who else would have survived all that we've survived on that crossing the Middle Passage. I don't know if every group could survive what we've survived, but we have to know. And this is why it's so important for us to reconnect to our ancestral stories, because until we reconnect to those stories, all that we hear is this noise of the current climate, which is all it is, a bunch of
noise
and negativity and bias and all of the isms, sexism. I mean, you can go through the isms, all the isms. There's just so much noise that has nothing to do with the truth of who we are. And
they got to think of it as differently. So the way that I'm thinking is, wow, you are taking my resilience up to another level, because I'm listening to this stuff that you're saying and none of it is true. And so I am building up some kind of a shield around me, because it's like, oh, you're talking all this nonsense. I can't take all that in. I can look, I can listen, I can laugh, because what you were saying is comical. But I said, I was recently in Alabama. Now I have to tell you, I had never been in Alabama by myself with all the stuff going on. I was like, oh my goodness, you in Birmingham. Oh my goodness, you in Montgomery. Is it safe? Well, I went to Brian Stevenson's Legacy Museum down in, I think, Montgomery. And so I ran into this African-American woman in the restroom. She brought me out, and she was there with this congregation of white people. So they got into this conversation about what Black people needed to do in terms of talking to the white people and what have you. I said, I don't do that. And so they all looked at me.
Stop. Like, really? What we need to do?
Yeah, I was like, I don't do that. So the woman that I'm talking to, she's like, well, but I feel that's our calling. That's what we should. I said, I learned at the College of William and Mary, white people don't listen to nothing we have to say. All that they do.
No, well, the only thing I would say about that is that they pretend like they don't listen. It's not that they're not listening, because they will take any good idea you have and run with it like it's their own. Anytime, don't make a mistake and think they're not listening. It's that they pretend like they ain't listening. That's what it is.
So when it comes to racial issues, they tune you out because they think, oh, you just whining. So I don't talk about those kind of things. If I have somebody, and I do have a couple of white friends that are true allies, I've already done some teaching of them. And it's like, that's your fight. Those are your people. Y'all do it. So I said this in front of these white folks, and they're looking. And then they got into the conversation of DEI. And I said, well, here's the thing. Now, in elementary school, middle school, high school, college, I have always been in the top 3. I've always been in the top 3. So if we had a class of 28 people, I'm in a predominantly white institution and I'm in the top 3, then what are they? If I'm DEI, if I'm DEI and I'm in the top 3, what are they? Because
you gave them a lesson they didn't know they were going to get. It sounds like
they didn't, because I was like,
it's funny. I have some Caucasian friends too who are allies. I truly believe they're allies, and I support them because what I know for sure, there's not a thing I can say to convince white women and white men to change their mind and attitude. Not a thing. There's not any words that I have to change them. And I know that she's the best, it's particularly one of them. She's amazing artist. She even created a flag of atonement. She's just amazing. And she is having the conversations, but I'm supporting her work because I know that I have no capacity to have those conversations. And it's not really my job. My job is to make sure that I'm not opposed to anybody, and anybody who can decenter themselves can come along for my ride. But I know what my job is. My job is to empower my people and help us remember who we are and move and walk forward into this next era with the full knowledge of who we are. And we are excellence.
As well as we don't need to have all that bad karma that comes with those conversations.
That's right.
They're going to do whatever they're going to do.
That's right.
And I'm like, okay, well, y'all go over there and do it. Or better yet, if y'all don't want to go over there, y'all have a great day. I need to leave.
Yeah. You just, anyhow, I'm not like, again, I don't do things with exclusivity in mind, but I know who I'm serving. That's what my perspective is on it. Look, let's get to this holiday thing because we've had this amazing conversation, so given the conversation we just had, which actually in many respects ties into this idea of navigating the holidays and transitions, but share with people some of the myths you might have had to let go of in order to kind of take the journey that you've taken, and how some of the tools that you use to navigate transitions and the holidays, which is another time when our cortisol levels are, we don't like discomfort, but being in a room with all your family can be highly stressful. We know this. And so what are some of the tools that you've used in your life to kind of navigate these times?
15-minute visits is good for me. So I know who my relatives are, or I think I know who they are. Mm-hmm. And I have to determine that I'm going to have a good time while I'm there. However, if I see that this is not a good thing, I don't have to stay. And I can go.
That's right.
And I think it's okay to say, love you, give you a hug, kiss, I'm out of here. And then while you are driving or walking or riding, however you leaving, take care of yourself, because I think it's important to spend time with family, all family, the ones you like, the ones that get on your nerves too. I think you do need to spend some time with all of them, but I don't think you have to spend a lot of time with them.
Yeah.
I think you can just come in, do a quick visit. Oops, I got to go. And go. I have to admit, I have an aunt that I have seen do that for years. She's good. She's wonderful. So everybody's so excited that she's coming, but she don't ever stay longer than 15 minutes.
Yeah.
She knows who the people are. She's like, okay, gotta make my next stop.
Yeah, look, and that's actually a really gentle and effective boundary setting tool. Very gentle, very effective. And, if you keep it moving, the opportunities for things to jump off, I guess, get minimized.
You don't have to do that. Plus, I think, so if you're thinking about holiday time also, it's nice for you to have some personal rejuvenation time.
Yes.
So
absolutely.
Being in an environment that makes you happy. So for instance, well, y'all can't really see my plants behind me, but I like plants. I like fragrances and what have you. I think that you should get involved in activities that make you happy. So if you decorate your house, decorate it modestly. You don't have to have, I've seen some people that, oh my goodness, they like spend hours going outside doing all different kinds of things to their house. And I'm thinking, you got to take all that stuff down.
Yeah. Yeah. You and me. That's my perspective too.
But if that's your thing, you should do that. But if that's not your thing, don't do that.
I would even put it maybe this way. So there are people who love the holidays, and for them, they love it, but it's also pure stress, and they're like stressed out doing all the stuff. I'm like, okay, so if it's life-giving and feeds you, if it feeds you, I know that you may love what it looks like in the theory of it, but if it's actually draining you and you're agitated and irritated and all of the things, then, is that really joy that you're experiencing? What is the thing that you think you're getting out of it?
So that whole thing. So as you were talking, the number one thing that comes into my mind is money. So I have seen folks spend large sums of money and money that they didn't have going into debt for this holiday. Usually, so Thanksgiving and the day after Thanksgiving, Christmas and the day after Christmas. I also celebrate Kwanzaa. But here's the thing. Why? So, okay, if you're Christian, so Jesus didn't do all this stuff. The early Christians didn't do all of this stuff. In fact,
no. And not only that, Jesus was not born in December.
Well, and there's a lot of pagan stuff that is.
I know. All of these holidays came out of the so-called pagan traditions. I know.
I don't really celebrate all of this because I can't do all of this.
No.
A budget. Okay, so you want to buy whatever. Budget. So how much are you going to spend? Again, talking about children. Children learn how to handle their finances from what they see their parents doing and what they teach them about money.
That's right.
Why?
And by the way, the emotional nature of what happens with money. That's one of the things that I work with a lot of people on, because inevitably, whenever I'm helping people build a business, all the family dynamics around money arise, and either all of the big blocks in these people's businesses have to, at the end of the day, have to do with the family dynamics around money. It is kind of surreal to realize that everything that everybody thinks is going on with their business is not what they think it is.
But I also want to get back to the money in terms of your loved ones, especially the children and the teens and what have you.
Yes.
I'm thinking that it's more important to develop some rituals and some things that build memories.
Yes.
Spending lots of money. What are we going to have for our meal? Ooh, mommy's making that special macaroni and cheese, or, oh my goodness, I got some sweet potato pudding. Those things
those are the
go
things
from generation to generation to generation.
That's the legacy.
Creating different
That's
things,
the legacy.
spending time in the kitchen, learning how to make these things.
Yeah.
Who gets to carve the turkey or the ham or whatever it is y'all going to eat? All of those different kinds of things, but not in buying stuff. So when I think about it, other than that, Susie, I can't even remember what homemaker oven. Other than that, I don't remember what I used to get for Christmas.
That's right.
Now, I do remember when I was a teen, there was this record that I had, because I can see the guy on the record in my mind, although I can't think of his name right now. But I can see that Jackson 5 was definitely mine too. But for the most part, I don't remember, and your children won't either.
That's right. That's exactly right. Well, look, this has been an amazing conversation, and thank you for those Yeah, you led us into, we definitely covered the holiday thing too, because you led us into the perfect part of how to bring this all together into some strategies to help navigate this season.
That 15
I
minute
want,
visit is key.
yes, yes, yeah. That one, that 15-minute thing is a great, it's gentle, but a great boundary. That's a firm boundary. So I want to ask you one more kind of question that you can offer a little insight to the audience, and then I'm going to bring it to a close. But this has been amazing. I'm so excited that we had the opportunity to sit down and have this important conversation. I learned a lot from our interaction, but also just some of your journeys, and I'm sure my audience will do the same. But what would you say to a woman that is at the moment standing in the hallway between what was and what's next in her life?
What would I say to her? So I have this saying that I truly do believe, and it is think possibilities. Think possibilities. So this woman, she's transitioning. She doesn't know what's ahead. She knows what's past. I'd ask her to take some time, and I've got a friend who's into dreams, but
Yeah.
I would tell her to take some time to think, if I could have anything that I wanted, however it is I wanted, what would that thing be?
Mm-hmm.
And not to limit, not to set any limits.
Yeah.
What would that thing be? And how can I make it happen? And I'm going to say this in a different kind of a way too. So when I was that young girl escaping from the Bronx,
Yes, ma'am.
I wanted to be a doctor.
Oh,
I wanted to be either an OBGYN or a psychiatrist. So I did become a doctor, not the doctor that I thought that I was going to be.
yeah.
I am in between an OBGYN and
Yeah.
a psychiatrist in
Yeah.
that mental health, and I've done a lot of work around maternal mental health. So
Yes.
I've still been able to do those things, but not in the way that I thought that I would.
Yeah.
You don't know what the possibilities are, but you do know what's in your heart. And
Mhm.
so I think that what you do is you crack the door open and say, I believe. Okay, I know we all on Art Kelly about his song, but that song, I Believe I Can Fly,
Oh, Lord.
I
Yeah.
don't care. I don't
Yeah.
care who made it. I'm going to listen to that song because
Yeah.
there is something that wells up in me when I hear that song that
Yeah.
makes me believe
Yeah.
I can do. And so I think that that woman should listen. Don't forget about him. Listen to her song. Listen to the words in the song that the creator evidently gave him,
Yes.
and use that to propel yourself to the next level and believe that whatever it is, if your mind can if your mind can conceive something, then that means that you are able to achieve it.
Yes.
It may not be achieved in the way that you think.
It almost never will be. In my experience, it's almost never the way, because as soon as we get a vision, our mind wants to color in. And there is, I don't care what you call it. You can call it God. You can call there's something larger than us at play in the universe. And we can only barely comprehend the fullness of that thing, whatever it is. I've been to seminary. I use the word God, but I'm not constraining it to that, because I know that we all have a relationship to that larger thing, because we wouldn't be here otherwise. The larger presence in the universe. So you never want to constrain the universe, that larger voice in your life. Our minds can't comprehend the fullness. So why would we constrain it to what we know?
Right.
Anyhow, amazing conversation. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So much to take away for the audience. Glenda, where can people reach you and find out more about what you do?
Okay, so here's the thing with me. I'm launching in 2026. I've got websites and stuff that I am getting ready. They're done, but they're not launched for the world to see. Right now, if you wanted to get in contact with me right now, LinkedIn is the best place to find me.
Okay.
Glenda
Okay. We'll
Clare
have that
on LinkedIn.
information
And I will
in
be
the show notes.
Yeah, and I will be launching those websites through LinkedIn.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Thank you so much for being here and sharing your heart and your wisdom and your presence with us. I know that this conversation is going to have a ripple effect into the world, and I just appreciate it so much that you've been able to be here.
Thank you so much for having me. So let's be in contact because I got something coming up in March that I want you to consider. So I'll send you an email.
Yeah, that sounds fantastic.
Okay.
If today's episode spoke to you, I want to invite you to reflect on this question. What's one soul-aligned step I can take from here? And as always, subscribe, share this with someone standing at their own threshold, and join us next time for our Soul Sync sessions. Thanks, everyone. What if retirement wasn't a finish line, but a sacred beginning? Women Don't Retire is a call to reimagine your next chapter with purpose, power, and joy. I share real stories, deep truths, and practical wisdom for women ready to lead, even after leaving the title behind. Available now where books are sold. See the show notes for a link to get your copy today. Take a breath, a full one. That kind that reaches into the places that ache and ask nothing of you except to feel. In this episode, Dr. Glenda Clare guided us through tender terrain, the emotional, spiritual, and cultural labor of kinship care, and the sacred weight of loving others through systems that were never built for our wholeness. We named what often goes unnamed, the inherited burdens, the silences between generations, and the grief that lingers even in love. And we also named the truth, that you are not what has happened to your family, you are not broken for feeling weary, and you are not alone. You are a part of a long line of people who have carried what others could not, and still found ways to create joy, safety, and possibility. You are a miracle in motion. So, here's your Soul Sync invitation. What have you been carrying that was never really yours to hold? Whose survival strategies have become your silent expectations? And what would it look like to begin to release them with love? Maybe your healing begins with naming what hurt. Maybe it starts with rest. Maybe it begins with no longer apologizing for your needs, your boundaries, your voice. You're not here to fix it all. You are here to feel, to grow, and to remember, to reclaim what was lost and redefine what's possible. Let this be a reminder. Your healing is not selfish. Your rest is not a luxury. Your wholeness is a gift to you and to those who come after you. You're allowed to become someone your younger self didn't know was possible. And that is holy. Until next time, may you continue to live soul first. If this episode stirred something in your soul, if you felt seen, softened, or simply supported, I'd be so grateful if you'd take a moment to leave a review. Your words help other women, especially those at a sacred threshold, find this space. It only takes a minute, but your review becomes part of the ripple. Thank you for listening. Thank you for syncing with your soul.